Google is coming under pressure in Europe. That's after the European Union signaled that it's taking a tougher stance against how companies collect and store user data. A far cry from the US, where Google has unfettered access to data to let it sell targeted ads. Mark New has more.
Data mining in the United States.
At the University of California, Berkeley, leading academics and lawyers review privacy law across the globe.
We look to privacy to protect citizens against state intrusions. And that's the same whether we're in the United States or in Europe.
Reidenberg says in the last decade, both the US and EU have increased the authority of governments to access online traffic information. But Berkeley law professor Katerina Linos, who teaches European law, says the US is more concerned with big government while the EU is more concerned with big corporations.
In Europe, there's a deep concern that companies will take private citizens' data and misuse it. In the US, we have less concern about what private corporations will do and more concern about the government overreaching.
Linos describes the EU as being a little imperialistic on this front because it wants to regulate how a broad range of companies from around the world process data. It just so happens that many Silicon Valley companies like Google and Facebook are at the forefront of this technology. Privacy and technology lawyer Kurt Wimmer advises many companies on these matters, including Facebook.
On the U.S. side, I think we have a much more flexible regime, and it's allowed us to have a lot more innovation. I don't think you could replicate Silicon Valley in Europe, given their data protection regulation, because data is the lifeblood of the digital economy.
British author Andrew Keane, who lives and works near Silicon Valley, says the EU had to take a stand against Google. He's particularly concerned about the next generation of technologies, like Google's self-driving cars and its wearable Google Glass device.
Because when we sit in a self-driving Google car, it's going to know everywhere we go. When we put on Google glasses, Google is going to see and acquire the data of everything we see. Because the more Google knows about us, the more valuable we are. We are its product. Google bundles us up and sells it to advertisers.
With products like Google Glass on track to be available to consumers next year, Keane says there's no better time than now to bring privacy issues to a head. Mark New, CCTV, Mountain View, California.